things are about to get a little bit more lovely over here, a little bit more pleasurable, a little bit more romantic with Venus entering her domicile of Libra. The crowd goes wild. The cosmic corner of the internet goes wild because, as you know, especially if you tune into Magic Monday, Venus has been going through it, moving through her fall of Virgo, a territory where she's like, I kind of hate it here. I'm having to be too realistic. I'm having to be too pragmatic. I'm having to look towards the future. I'm worried about these particular arenas. I'm not giving myself permission to fully indulge or enjoy these arenas of life. And now Venus gets a breath of fresh air, stepping into territory where she is very comfortable within, the charismatic, the charming, the lovely territory of Libra. And it really is just a gasp of air, a brief moment in time, as after Venus transits Libra, Venus will enter her detriment of Scorpio. So it's definitely bookended by some territory where Venus is like, get me out of here. But right now, and let's hone in on the now, with Venus in Libra, this is giving us a cosmic permission slip to go outside, to take a deep breath, to feel the autumn air in your lungs, to remind yourself that you are alive, to see the beauty all around you, to enjoy connection, to romanticize your life. And isn't the very nature of romanticizing your life applying a little bit more of an artistic or cinematic lens upon it? That is most certainly going to factor into this week's astrology with the planet of love upon entering Libra, opposing Neptune, which can be helpful as it relates to giving our life a rose-colored sheen, but it can be disastrous as it relates to the images that you project onto people, the individuals that you put on a pedestal, those suitors and those crushes and those exes, those people that you build up to represent something so much bigger than what they are. You know, Venus is the planet of art, and I do think it is an artistic act to see the beauty in someone. And sometimes if we're feeling unfulfilled creatively or artistically, we apply that artistic creative lens to the individual that we are pining after or crushing on. Rather than utilizing paint strokes on a canvas, we are utilizing that creative eye to fade out someone's flaws and to dress up new qualities and to see aspects of someone's soul, which is alive with the opposition to Neptune, and make that the entire picture, or convince ourselves that it's the entire picture, which can be a beautiful act to see the absolute divinity in someone, the beauty in someone, in who they are, as well as some of the qualities that you project onto them or the potential that you see within them. This is a beautiful quality. And again, this can be a vibration that you tap into with your art or just overall romanticizing your life, seeing what's there, but applying a more artistic, creative lens in viewing it. But it's going to be important this week who it is that you are making within your life a false god, who it is that you're putting on a pedestal. Because when you put someone on a pedestal, firstly, you are devaluing yourself by saying that you are below them. And there really is a wake-up call with this week's cardinal T-square involving the Libra Sun, Jupiter in Cancer, and Chiron in Aries. And I'm recognizing this is just a person. This is just a mere mortal walking the planet. And sometimes we could build someone up or dress them to be something so much more than that. And it's not even just a crush. Sometimes it shows up around that frenemy, that individual that you're jealous of, where every time you see one of their social media posts, you are just seething with anger. And this person represents how you are not good enough and you are not valuable. Or a family member where you fundamentally feel that your validity as a human being is contingent upon their approval of you. They are just a person. And whether it's in an amorous way or in a more tense way, we can build someone up to be something so much more than what they are. We can feel that mean person in the office snickering at us and feel the sear of a million mean people that we've interacted with in the past. You can make this person an amalgamation of all of the mean individuals that you've interacted with before, because they represent that. They represent fundamentally that feeling of feeling rejected, of feeling uncool, of feeling not popular, whatever the wound is. Because when it comes to Chiron energy, that's that wound that cuts you deeply. And sometimes because of that wounded spot within, we can feel that the antidote of said wound is in this individual's hands. Well, if I just get this mean person who is snickering at me, if I get their approval, then I'll finally feel cool enough or good enough. Or if I get this family member to finally validate me and my success, I'll finally feel chosen. Or if I get my ex back, finally, that means that I am valuable. No, these are just people, and you are fundamentally outsourcing your ability to define yourself, to validate yourself in their hands. And oftentimes we can find ourselves spiraling or interacting more in these sort of dynamics, wanting that antidote, wanting that validation, wanting that key to feel like if I can just get it from you, then I can finally give it to myself. My love, it's all an inside job. And it's just important where you're putting people on pedestals or even making being liked, approved of, validated the most important thing, worshiping at the altar of that. There is a lot this week that is around connection. We've got a grand air trine. Venus in Libra is around romanticizing our life and really enjoying the individuals that we navigate it with. Really taking that moment to smile at the baby who's looking at you ahead of you in the train, and taking that moment to really strike up a conversation with your barista, or take that opportunity to really connect with the client. Like, connection, romance, beauty is all around us. And Venus in Libra supports us in finding that, in prioritizing that, and seeing the value of that, of living a very beautiful, harmonious life. So yes, take every opportunity to be courteous, to be thoughtful, to be kind, but let go of being nice. Don't you dare be nice. And what I mean by not being nice typically is not genuine. Kind is genuine. That's your heart. That's your presence. Nice is this energy around, I don't want to ruffle any feathers, and I want you to like me and approve of me. And it just is a very bland word. And you are not bland. You did not come here to have this human experience to be bland, to be for everybody. Absolutely not. And so as we go towards the weekend, Mercury aligns with Mars in Scorpio. And that's the energy around saying the thing, standing up for yourself. If there is a situation, you know where nice will get you? Nice will get you taken advantage of. Nice will get you passed over as it relates to opportunities. Don't misunderstand me. There is absolutely a space for more introverted, softer, kinder, empathetic individuals to shine. But it's important to know where you need to stand up for yourself, or where it is important to say the hard thing or invoke the tough question. Because if it is so important to you to always feel liked or just make sure everybody is getting along, it will set you up to, at the very least, feel very resentful. Mercury conjunct Mars over the weekend might have some of us saying, no, I didn't think that joke was particularly funny. Do you want to explain it to me? Even if the nice thing to do would just be chuckle awkwardly and just try to diffuse the uncomfortable moment. Mercury on Mars is around, that's not okay. That was inappropriate. Or maybe for some, it's having some sort of business dealing and obviously wanting to get along, wanting to collaborate, wanting to partner, but having to advocate around, no, I don't think that percentage split is fair. I'm not comfortable with that. And who's going to advocate for me if not me? Of course, there is something to be said around working together and compromise and collaboration, especially with this astrology. But it's important to know, and last week's Aries full moon brought this to the surface, every sort of business partnership, any sort of marriage, any sort of friendship, any sort of interaction with anyone is a balance of self and other. And if something is making you uncomfortable, if something is not okay with you, Mercury and Mars in Scorpio is empowering you to say it, which for many of us may be facing a fear. Pluto stations direct this week. So there is this energy around breaking out of any sort of stagnation, pushing through some sort of fear, stepping out of your comfort zone, especially with the last quarter moon in Cancer. So maybe it's taken a lot of bravery to get to this point in which you are finally asking the question at the boardroom around, explain that because the numbers aren't adding up on my end, or it took you some time to post the message that was very challenging to post on your business page, or whatever it is. But Mercury and Mars in Scorpio over the weekend is giving you the courage to say the hard thing. And Pluto Direct is also igniting you to empower yourself, to step through your fears and to really commit to the transformation around, for some, this might just be having a conversation with a friend around, I noticed that you utilize this word. It's really inappropriate. It makes me very uncomfortable. And while that might not seem like the biggest fear ever, it's like we build courage on the other side of uncomfortable conversations. And maybe now that you had that uncomfortable conversation, you feel more empowered to advocate for yourself to your manager, advocate for yourself to your aunt, or whatever it may be. It's really important to push through that fear, push through that discomfort, to make your comfort a priority. Because sometimes, especially with all this Libra energy, it's like, I just want everyone to get along. I want everyone to feel comfortable. I feel uncomfortable with what was said. I feel uncomfortable with that joke. I feel uncomfortable with this percentage, but everybody else seems fine. So my comfort is to be dismissed. With Mercury and Mars and Scorpio, it's like, I'm feeling into something and I need to say something. I need to assert myself because my comfort matters too. And I would so much rather prefer to be seen as someone who is intelligent, seen as someone who advocates for themselves, seen as someone who is shrewd and strategic, than someone who is nice. And Pluto Direct is supporting us and pushing through all sorts of fears, even just beyond the courage to be disliked, but that could be alive. There could also be themes with Pluto Direct around power, who has it, where it is that we are giving our power away. There could be a foreboding energy, especially as we step into the week, just with the Pluto energy hanging in the air. We also had Mercury square Pluto last week. Let me know how that was for you all in the comments below. Sometimes Pluto energy could be very powerful and very focused and very eye on the prize. And sometimes it can literally feel like our world is falling apart and we are in crisis and we are spiraling. Pluto's a planet of extremes. It tends to not have a whole lot of middle ground. So starting off the week, that can absolutely be alive within the air, both within your individual world as well as within the collective. But there is a focus with Venus in Libra, trining Uranus, trining Pluto. Yes, should we be discerning and advocate for ourselves if something does not sound right? Yes, with Mercury on Mars. But truly, we are more powerful when we work together, when we co-create, when we collaborate. And that requires us to communicate our thoughts, communicate our ideas, communicate what's important to us, communicate what makes us feel uncomfortable. And maybe that's the transformation, that you are allowing yourself to step into relationships and partnerships and teams and groups and giving yourself permission to fully take up space. Maybe that is where the change is coming from. So we will absolutely dive into this astrology with so much more depth. Gotta go deep with Mercury and Mars and Scorpio this week, aligning to meet this Sunday. But before we do, take a step inside my cosmic cafe. Let me know what you are sipping on to start your week. So this is the Tazo pumpkin spice latte. I made it iced as it's like 70 degrees today. The struggle of living in California in October. You may want to get spooky and transition into fall and enjoy a pumpkin beverage, but it's still very much giving summer. Outside, I personally am not complaining. I don't mind my pumpkin drinks iced. So let me know. What are you sipping on? Do you have a pumpkin beverage? Are you getting into the season? Is it hot? And with Venus and Libra and all this connected energy this week, these are the moments that I truly wish the Cosmic Cafe was real. That we really were all sipping delightful beverages. Doesn't have to be pumpkin, and chit-chatting about the cosmos and the astrology. I have really loved getting people together, like being with my community IRL. It has been making my heart so incredibly happy to gather in person. Of course, I love the digital connection of it all. Venus trining Uranus this week. Absolutely. It's so powerful that we can all connect online. I had so much fun in my business birthday party with the live. Thank you to everyone who joined me there. I have so much fun with our online Zoom classes and all of the things, but there really is something so powerful around being able to meet you all and connect with you all and talk about astrology with you all. And with Jupiter in Cancer transiting my 11th house, I would just so love to create more opportunities for gathering, for connection, for astrology education, for illuminating themes around your path, for connecting you all. Like, that makes me so happy. I had like one informal Pisces party, if you guys remember that. It was like just a random thing that me and my friend did. And the way that that event created genuine friendships, like between the Pisces who came, like, it just makes my heart so incredibly happy to not only be able to connect with you all, but to witness the connections that you all make with one another, because I am a believer that we are on the same wavelength and vibration. And the more in-person gatherings I do, the more I feel validated within that, the more proof I see within that this cosmic romantic community is truly something special. So if what I'm communicating right now is piquing your interest, I have a link below where you can put in your email address if you want to receive more information around retreats in the year 2026. But without further ado, let's go ahead and light the incense and take it into Vibe Check of the Week. So if you are new to Magic Monday, hello, my name is Haley Comet. Here on Magic Monday, we have a segment called Vibe Check of the Week, where we compare all of the astrological events this week to a real life scenario. It is not me saying that this exact situation will play out. Oftentimes, these dynamics and themes surface in a different arena of life, or sometimes to someone that is close to you rather than directly you. But it's a storytelling device to get you familiar with the overarching vibes of the week without having to delineate Pluto stationing direct in Aquarius and the last quarter moon in Cancer and Sun squaring Jupiter and all of the other astrological terms. This is how we bring astrology to life. So we will say within this week's vibe check that you have been in a bit of a rut as it relates to your romantic life. You've gotten your heart broken, and furthermore, you've gotten your ego bruised. You know, the Libra sun is involved in a cardinal T-square this week. And when we talk about sun, we talk about ego and identity. Keep in mind, the sun is not dignified in Libra, the sign of relationship. So it represents us sometimes certain friendships, relationships, partnerships make us view ourselves in a certain way. Where, of course, there's the heartache, the heartbreak of it not working out. And I had so many dreams and I had so many plans. But there's also just the icky feeling of feeling rejected and feeling not wanted and feeling not chosen. And you've been sitting with that. So much so that you have been closed off to love. You've been afraid to open up again. You've really been fantasizing about this person coming back and giving you that apology that you want. And you've gotten tarot readings and they say that this person is coming back around and they show up in your dreams. And you're like, as soon as this person comes back, then my life will begin. I'll be able to move forward because your romantic life is stagnant. And a lot of other arenas of your life have felt stagnant as well because you just feel like you are waiting and waiting and waiting. And out of the blue, so random, your friend Jenny asks if she can set you up with her boyfriend's brother. We'll call him Jim. She says, Jim thinks you are so beautiful and would love a chance to take you to dinner. We could do a double date so it's not so uncomfortable. What do you say? And every part of you is closed off to the idea. Firstly, you want your ex to come back. That's your true love. That's your soulmate. And secondly, you are scared. You're scared to open up. You're scared to try again. Jim is outside of your typical type, but your friend Jenny really encourages you around, just try it. It's just one evening. You never know. And so you go for this double date. And the vibes are good. Like you're all getting along. Jim is not typically the type that you go for. He's not typically the type of individual that you find attractive, but the vibes are right. The conversation is sparkling. It's powerful. And all in all, it's giving you this glimmer of hope. That's really what you walk away from the double date with is hope around I can be attracted to someone outside of my ex and I can love again. And I'm not an ogre who is not worthy of love. Like connection is possible. And this is someone who was interested in me that I paid no mind because I was so obsessed with somebody who's not in my world. And maybe there's other opportunities around for me. You know, we have an air grand trine this week linking Venus, the planet of love, Uranus, the planet of novelty, Pluto, the planet of regeneration. So it's a reminder that heartache, while it can hurt, Sun opposite Chiron, it can bruise our ego. It's a reminder that there's so many other connections for us to experience in this life. There's lots of fish in the sea. And you're not going to catch them if you're so hung up, fantasizing, idealizing, pedestalizing the marlin that got away with Venus opposite Neptune. It's important to be open. And as the evening is closing out, you're feeling this glimmer of hope. And then Jim makes a comment that doesn't particularly land with you. And it makes it so clear that you and Jim's values are not aligned. And this is a matter that is important to you. Again, Pluto is stations direct in Aquarius. This is the humanitarian. And you just recognize that Jim and yourself have different visions of the future and where humanity is going and different values, we'll say, as it relates to human life. And that's a deal breaker for you. So yes, there was a glimmer of hope around, oh, connection is possible. But this is something where it's like, yeah, but not with you. And every part of you just wants to grin and bear it, to sip your water and swallow your truth. It's been a consistent issue, you not speaking up for yourself. That was an issue with your ex. You never really utilized your voice. You never really empowered your voice. That typically would be your MO, to keep the peace, to be nice, to be polite, to just get out of the situation as quickly as possible. But something's within you. And you decide to debate Jim right there at that dinner table. We've got Mercury on Mars in Scorpio over the weekend. Mercury on Mars is a debate aspect. So people could be trying to debate you, fight with you, argue with you. We'll definitely get into that. There's a lot of mental energy active this weekend. And with the energy of Scorpio, let's talk about it. Maybe there's a desire to gloss everything over and make it all nice and charismatic. And we're in front of Jenny and Jim's brother, her boyfriend. So there's like a social pressure around, okay, don't be aggressive, don't be loud, but you're like, no, we'll go there. This person made the comment. Let's dig deep. Let's see if that ignorant comment really has legs to stand on. You know, Mercury and Scorpio, let's talk about it. Let's go deep. Let's talk about the uncomfortable thing. And let's sometimes make it uncomfortable. And as expected, you debate this individual, and this individual really does not have all of the stats, all of the facts on the comment that was made. And the next day, Jenny calls you like, why do you have to be so difficult? This is why you're not going to have a connection. And you're like, beyond being convenient for you, I have to be true for me. And that was what was true for me in the moment. I'm not saying all of us need to be argumentative and debating random people this weekend. Like, definitely put your energy towards constructive means. But in that moment, it felt constructive because that represents you're transforming a pattern. You're breaking free of a pattern. Transformation's in the air. Pluto stations direct. And you know that there's so many past versions of you who would have just shut up and smiled, who just would have dealt with it. And this is a version of you where you're finding your voice. You're speaking out around what's important to you. And it was important to you to express yourself in that particular moment. So Jim is most certainly not somebody that you're going to entertain spending time with moving forward. But you do leave the dinner with a couple things. You are open to connection now. You're like, I can be attracted to people outside of my ex. I know that's possible now. Like, I'm not going to continue with Jim because of what came out of his mouth, but I know that it is possible for me. And it was just a bad date. Sometimes when we face our fear around, that's what I've been holding myself back from. Like, bad dates suck and they're the worst, but we get over it. Time goes on. It's just one night in the grander scheme of things. How many nights have I been waiting to live, waiting for this person to come around? At least I'm putting myself out there. At least I'm opening myself up to new things. At least I know new criteria to maybe screen for before I say yes to dates. Like, every certain experience, we learn from it. And at least you are prioritizing connection. You are prioritizing companionship. You're prioritizing romance, something that's been imbalanced within your life up to this point. You also leave this date feeling empowered around your voice and that you have the ability to say the hard thing, to call out the behavior, to stand up for yourself. And that wouldn't have been the case in prior versions of you. So you are transforming. You are evolving. We all are with Pluto stationing direct. So let's go ahead and take it into our day-by-day analysis. I just want to let you know I am in California. So all time zones that I mentioned are PDT. Please adjust to your time zone if you are located elsewhere. And let's take it into the astrology for Monday, October 13th. Monday, October 13th astrology is asking you to build your future rather than haunting your past. And to make that a conscious decision. I am moving forward. I am pushing through. I am facing this fear of the unknown, potentially. Because that is what can keep us haunting old connections with the Venus opposite Neptune today, or old comfort zones with the last quarter moon in Cancer today. Even if it was painful, even if it was not fulfilling, even if it was not meaningful, I know what to expect there. There's a misguided stability in clinging to the past because it's what we've known. And when we try to envision our future or what we'd like it to be, it's looking out into the abyss. It is the unknown, which can be terrifying. Pluto stations direct today. So there can be this foreboding sense of fear of the unknown and where things are going and what your future is going to look like and who is in power and how they are wielding that power with Pluto direct. That could all be hanging in the air. And when we are feeling that fear, sometimes we can feel immobilized, like we are unable to move forward. We want to withdraw into our shell. The moon's in Cancer all day long. Cancer is the crab. We could just want to retreat into our shell, being scared to try, scared to risk, scared to dare. And so we remain where it is that we are. And most of our romanticizing, visionary energy, rather than viewing it around what creative project do I want to put this to, what's meaningful to me that I want to create, what are my values, and how is it that I want to create a more beautiful world in alignment with those values, that romantic, idealistic energy instead gets cast on our past, romanticizing a time of your life that no longer exists, maybe even romanticizing qualities of a person who is no longer within your life. Again, it takes an artistic, creative eye to see the best in someone and see the divinity in someone and have different qualities. And sometimes things look better from afar. We can fade the bad qualities out of you and we can dress up the memories or what it is that we cling on to. But there is an ask to push through to the other side, to utilize that creative visionary energy rather than being nostalgic about a time that is past, rather than romanticizing someone who is not showing up currently. There's an ask to redirect our focus towards the future, even if it's scary. That is where our power lies, in pushing through the fear. You know, fear can keep us stuck. It can keep us frozen. It can keep us complacent. And sometimes if there's other arenas of our life that feel very scary, we can retreat to some sort of safe space within our mind, some sort of past time that no longer exists, past connection that we feel like is going to come back around, because escaping into that world distracts us from this real world that is scary, that is intense, where there's extremes. Again, this Pluto energy is within the air. But there's this ask at this time to really step into your power around being the creator of your world. That does not mean that we have the power over every little thing within this experience, but it's choosing to create your reality. It's choosing to step into your future. It's choosing to co-create your future. Because sometimes when we retreat into our little shell and we're scared and we're just thinking about how the past was so much better, all the things in the past were so much better, we are losing out on the opportunity to make a difference moving forward. We are losing out on the opportunity to create change for ourselves, because fear can keep us stuck and keep us in the same place year after year. Oh, next year it might be safer for me to come out of my shell. Oh, maybe next year things might be safer. Things are constantly shifting. If it's not this, it'll be something else. This world is a scary place, a terrifying place at times. And it's knowing whether we come out of our shell now or we come out of our shell in 2 weeks' time. It's not to say that there will not be dangers and threats, but it is choosing to show up. It's choosing to make your willpower stronger than your fears. It's choosing to make your belief in the future stronger than the lull of the past. It's choosing to push through is really the encouragement today. And I say that because the Libra sun squares off with the Cancer moon around 11 a.m. or so. And this is the last quarter moon. So it may call back to that Aries full moon, which let me know how that was. It may call back that energy of courage and authenticity and being your own person and advocating for yourself. It may be a call to that. And again, when something's on the waning side of the moon, there is a theme around release or letting go. And so with the energy of the last quarter moon in Cancer, it's almost this energy around to step boldly into your future. There is an ask to release certain elements of our past. Of course, honoring elements of how they have built you up to this point, how they have created who it is that you are currently, but knowing what got you there isn't going to be what gets you to the next stage of your journey, which can be terrifying. Again, Pluto direct is in the air, so that could be hanging over us. And the last quarter moon in Cancer could be a nudge around release, around this used to be something that gave me a lot of comfort, but I'm recognizing now it's no longer serving me. Or this is a person who I have roots with, I have a past with, but I'm recognizing I need to let them go. Or this is a version of myself that perhaps is keeping me small. Maybe that nice version of myself, though when it gets along, it doesn't create a fuss, right? That's also a way that we retreat into our shell, right? Is hiding under this veneer of, oh, it's all good and it's fine and da da da. No. Crabs have claws for a reason. This is not me saying you need to go pinch people, okay, this week. Please do not pinch people as you navigate. But if there is a version of you around, it's very important to always be docile, to always get along, to always be liked. The last quarter moon in Cancer could be around, okay, you say you want to step into being this manager, this CEO, this strong matriarch, patriarch of the home. And yet there's this version of you who finds that the most important thing is to be docile all of the time. Those are incompatible. It's not just around our goals and our visions for the future. It's also the vision for ourselves that we hold within that. And the last quarter moon in Cancer could be this acknowledgement around the soothing mechanisms, the comfort zone that is no longer serving you. Around this might have comforted me up to this point, but it's time to let it go. Maybe that's even advice for some individuals around, it used to really give me a lot of comfort at the end of a hard day to do this or that, but I recognize it is not serving me currently. I recognize I need to transform this. Like Pluto Direct can be helpful for breaking us out of stagnation. It can create like crisis energy when Pluto is in the air, which sometimes can show up around an emotional or spiritual crisis around, I can't keep coping in the ways that I've been coping just because this has been comfortable and it's been a bit of strange message coming through, but it's kind of like the energy around just because this baby blanket or this stuffed animal, just because it's gotten me to this stage of my life doesn't mean that it's going to come with me. And I am not saying that you need to get rid of Teddy the teddy bear or Lammy the lamb, but there could just be something around this used to bring me comfort and it doesn't any longer. There's like a bit of an emotional, spiritual crisis when it comes to the last quarter moon. And within in Cancer, what brings me comfort? What feels like home? What feels like safety? And potentially what used to feel like home or safety that no longer does. And there can be something that feels very destabilizing about that, just with Pluto stationing direct on the same day around, if you're not my comfort person, who is? If holding Teddy the teddy bear doesn't give me comfort anymore, like what does? And that's the invitation to find that sense of comfort that aligns within this next season of your life and not clinging to things that are outdated. And of course, cuddle Teddy, have a baby blanket until you're 50. I don't care. Do whatever you got to do. But sometimes we do this with, oh, it's my comfort X. Or sometimes it's around, it's my comfort babe, it brings me comfort. And it's like, define new ways of comfort, because Pluto energy also brings a spotlight to destruction. And maybe this is the oomph you needed to kind of break out of stagnation, to come back to, yes, it's familiar to reach for my vape. Yes, it's familiar to text my ex, to hang out when I'm having a bad day. But is that what's best for me? Is that what my higher self version me would do? And Pluto Direct can be around, as scary as it is, as uncomfortable as it is, as much as I just want to ask this person to come over, I've got to take this step closer to my higher self, even though it's the unknown. I don't know what exactly lies ahead. Every part of me feels like I am decaying, feels like I'm not okay. Where is it that I can create my own sense of stability or comfort within myself or within another, especially with Venus entering Libra at 2:19 p.m. PDT. Here's what you can expect with Venus in Libra. Venus is in its home turf. Venus, its fullest Venus. And when Venus is given full permission to Venus, that means you are given full permission to flaunt. You are given full permission to savor. You are given full permission to indulge and connect and romanticize. All of these Venus themes of pleasure and leisure and romance and love are now emphasized and heightened in the cosmos, especially if there's been an imbalance, if there's been a deficiency in these arenas. Venus has been in Virgo for the past couple weeks, and it doesn't like being there. And we could have found a lot of our energy going to duty and discipline, and we could have felt more of our Venus energy, more of our budget, with Venus being the planet of money, more of our leisure time going to Virgo-like themes, health, to-dos, errands, productivity. Some of you could have even found when it came to your social life and your romantic life, you were in your hermit era. You know, Virgo in tarot is associated with the Hermit card. So you could have felt like, I'm not trying to be outside. I want to be in my shell and I want to be happy here. People don't annoy me when I'm in my comfort zone, in my home environment. But with Venus and Libra, it's around balance. You know, it comes a point in time where our solitude can feel isolating. It can come a point in time in which growing our business or working towards our career can feel very dull and uninspiring if we're not balancing it with seeing beautiful things in the world, treating ourselves every so often, prioritizing connection. And as human beings, we are subject to inertia, as all things in physics are. And inertia is real. Something that is not moving will remain stationary. Something that is in motion will remain in motion. The hardest part is creating the momentum, is breaking out of the rut, is breaking out of the habit even. Especially if you're looking at your life and you're like, I have not said yes to a social invitation. I have not put myself out there. I have not even tried to foster connection. And it feels imbalanced. Where is it that I can bring these arenas back into balance? Or I have had my nose in my book studying for all of my exams. I have not even had time to spend time with my friends. I've been so busy with this home renovation project that I have not even gotten an opportunity to have a date night with my spouse. Whatever it is that feels imbalanced, that feels lopsided, there's an ask to bring it into balance. And for those of you who are single and ready to mingle, you know, Venus and Libra could make you want to cuff someone up. Allegedly, it's cuffing season. God, I'm cringy. I'm so sorry. Maybe let's take that out. And again, breaking through stagnancy, breaking through a rut. Pluto energy can be crisis energy. Same goes with that last quarter moon. So this could be the energy where you're like, I'm sick of being in my own space. I'm sick of not having partnership, but that's what I desire. I'm sick of not having soul family or community or friendship around me. It's time to prioritize this arena of my life, bring balance to this arena of my life, which Venus in Libra is going to be supportive of. When Venus settles into Libra, it opposes Neptune in Aries. As Neptune is currently hovering at 0 degrees Aries. Neptune retrogrades back into Pisces on the 22nd of this month. Just a heads up. Of course, we'll talk about it as we always do here in the Cosmic Corner. But what I want to tell you right now is that Neptune is at the very first degree of the sky. Like, it all begins with 0 degrees Aries. It is pure potentiality. The first degree of the first sign of the zodiac. Anything can happen. And why I note that is because Neptune as a planet is very romantic. It's very idealistic. And so there can be an energy around seeing potential, seeing possibility. Other people may look at your date or your crush as, oh, they're just a person, but you can see this whole future with them. Or you could have a certain financial idea or something that you're feeling called to invest in, that you see the potential in it. You see the vision of it. And it's a beautiful thing to be in that courageous space of envisioning and dreaming. Again, dreamers change the world. Creators change the world. There's such an ask at this time to not give up. I know a lot currently could have you feeling very hopeless, very, what's the point? You know, Pluto energy can be very existential, and Neptune energy, while it can be visionary, can also be very dissociated, very like, what's real or what's the point of it all? And the point is that you create the point. You operate through every single day looking for the meaning, looking for something that feels fulfilling, looking for an opportunity to help or to support or to show love with Venus opposite Neptune, or to put your money towards what it is that you value, or invite in more beauty into your experience, to bring compassion to other people's lives. And so with Venus opposite Neptune, it is dreaming around what could be. And this could be beautiful in terms of meeting a new connection and seeing the potential around where could this go and who could we be together. This could be having an idea of something that you want to put your money into, or a financial idea where it's like, this could be the beginning of something new. This could be the beginning of something beautiful. But the danger with Neptune is that it takes a lot more than just a vision or a seed in order to ensure success. And when it comes to people, it's important not to turn people into a project, right? Around, I see the potential of who they could be or what it could be. Because sometimes that will keep us in fantasy around someday they'll change, someday they'll be that version of themselves that I see within them. Because Neptune energy could be a little delusional. You know, it's not to say that it's not substantiated by their soul and by their potential, but it's kind of like taking a movie projector and playing a beautiful movie on somebody's body and thinking that the movie is them, but it was just something that you projected onto them. And again, that creativity, that artistry, that pulling out these beautiful qualities and romanticizing the details that you know, that can be utilized for other means and for means that don't keep you in the holding pattern, particularly if this is a connection that is from the past. I want to mention that because the moon's in Cancer today and it's a last quarter moon in Cancer. And so it can be an acknowledgement around how idealizing someone, romanticizing someone from the past is keeping you from creating your future, designing your future, and that conscious decision to let this person go. You know, sometimes we could be physically detangled with someone, but still holding out hope, still keeping that flame burning for this individual. And it could be beautiful if it is invoking you to write lovely poetry with Venus opposite Neptune, to write lovely songs. You know, so much art is created from matters of the heart. But it's also important where you are waiting to live or even waiting to be loved around, well, if it's not this person, I don't want it. Again, there is a nudge this week around recognizing this is just a person. And people are portals who can transport us into a different season of our time. They can be portals that are there to invoke certain artistry that can come from us. They can be portals to get us in touch with certain qualities within ourselves or qualities within the universe altogether, the frequency of unconditional love or compassion, things like this. But they are not the owner of that. And oftentimes that's where we put people on pedestals around, I will not feel that vibration of unconditional love if it's not with this person. I will not be inspired if this person is not my muse. This person is purely responsible for these new qualities that I have found within myself. Again, people are portals and they could be activations and they can be catalysts, but they do not own that. You know, none of us really own our artistry. At least that's how I feel. I feel that we're all conduits. We tap into something. We allow something to flow through us. And connection can be so beautiful because it's so energizing, enlivening, inspiring. But this person is not the sole person who can elicit that. They're not the sole person who you can have a very spiritual, deep, soulful connection with. Again, this is a very heart-open energy. Honor the connection and what it elicited within you and how it inspired you. But also know they don't own that and they don't have that power over you. They brought that out of you, but they are not the owner of that and they are not the only activation. So for some, this is like an energy around stop checking on your ex's page. They're just a person. For some, there's this energy around stop closing yourself off from new connection because you are waiting on this person to get their act together. Like life is moving forward. You got to move on with it. And again, there's a grieving in that. Like last quarter moon in Cancer, Pluto direct, Venus opposite Neptune. It's a grieving to let a dream die. And it's a grieving sometimes to let go who someone could have been, like the spiritual, soulful potential that you saw within them. But sometimes you just have to acknowledge that's not the person who's showing up right here, right now. And I deserve love that shows up for me right here, right now. And so some individuals could be letting go. Sometimes we stay clung to a past connection or we stay entangled with it because we are fearful. What if there's nothing out there for me? And Pluto energy is really asking, what runs your life? Do your fears run your life or do your dreams run your life? And call your power back from what has been running your life. And with the energy of Venus opposite Neptune, there also could be an energy of even putting romantic love on a pedestal or thinking that your life will start when this person shows up. Or even your life will begin when you are like the hottest fittest, most beautiful version of yourself. Like all of the time that you don't feel like you're at your aesthetic maximum is time just waiting to live. I feel like the film The Substance depicts that ideology quite well. You don't have to go see it. It's quite gory, but I really enjoyed it as a film. But without giving anything away, it brings up a lot of themes around youth and age and beauty. Keep in mind, Venus is around beauty. So there could just be overall a desire around, I want to feel pretty. I want to look cute. I want to do my makeup. I want to create a beautiful life and create beautiful ways of dressing up my avatar as I navigate this life. Like it could be so beautiful to curate beauty for yourself, but Venus opposite Neptune could be drawing an eye to unrealistic beauty standards, as well as a feeling around my life will begin once I lose the weight, once I have money to get this plastic surgery, once I'm more conventionally attractive in this way, waiting to live in the holding pattern in the bathroom, a la The Substance. You do not have to wait to live for this person. You don't have to wait to live until you are conventionally attractive or anything like that. Life is going by. Where am I waiting to live? Where am I keeping myself in this dream around as soon as I do this, as soon as I look like this, as soon as I have this person, then I'll do all of the things. Curate that energy now. What can make you feel beautiful now? What can make you feel valuable now? What can make you feel in love with life and in tune with the romance of this experience now? If you are in a relationship with Venus opposite Neptune, there can be projection energy where you feel like you are not being seen clearly. And sometimes we play into the misunderstanding of who we are assumed to be. Sometimes that is the most like socially acceptable or socially easeful way to navigate the situation around someone makes a certain assumption around us. And then we play into that unknowingly. We're assumed to be this. We're projected to be this. And so we feel like that's what we need to be. But keep in mind, with Mercury on Mars in Scorpio over the weekend, there can be an energy around going off script, especially as it relates to who your partner thinks that you are, who your business partner thinks that you should be. And by going off script, I mean saying the hard thing, advocating for yourself, being more feisty and fiery than potentially who this person wrote you to be in the script of their life. You know, Neptune is associated with cameras. So it's like we're all the protagonists in our own movies. And sometimes people, you know, they miscast us. They cast us to be the nice girl who will go along with getting taken advantage of. And then sometimes you got to go off script around, you got me effed up. That is not what I'm casted to be. Or you go on a date with someone and they assume that you're going to play into their idea of how the evening is going to unfold. Then you have to go off script and be like, that is not what I'm going to do. Like, that is not who I am. And so it's just important to have agency around your ability to identify yourself, as well as not outsource your value, your beauty around playing into the role that other people have cast you in. So just being very conscious where there's a tendency to people please around, oh, they think that's how the night's going to go, so that's what I'm going to do because I want to feel approved of, I want to feel liked, I want to make things nice, or oh, this is what my partner assumes that I will do, to play into this projection so that I feel valuable and pretty and liked, and all of these Venusian themes. It's just important to know other people are not the sole portals of that. And so being very conscious where you feel like you have to fundamentally step out of yourself in order to secure that adoration, that validation, that feeling of feeling beautiful from other individuals. Because Neptune energy can be slippery. It's like, that's not how I thought the night was going to go, but I want you to like me, so perhaps I'll explore that. Or that's really not in alignment with me, but I want to feel loved. I want this to be a good night, so I'll just go along with it just this once. Neptune energy is slippery, especially if we are hinging our own value, our own beauty upon that. Sometimes we'll find ourselves acting in a movie that is not who we are. We've been horrendously miscast. And it can make us get even deeper if we feel like, then I'll feel chosen, then I'll feel loved, then I'll feel beautiful, then I'll feel liked. You could also just feel a lot of romanticizing and idealism alive today. You could have a coworker that you have a crush on, or someone that you see that you flirt with a little bit, and it's harmless. It's daydream fuel. And, you know, daydream fuel could absolutely be alive. You could have a lot of romantic daydreams around your neighbor or around your coworker, something like this. And crushes, like I said, they could be portals, and sometimes it can give us something to look forward to, where it gives us more motivation when we step out of the house because we have a cute neighbor, or we feel a little bit more motivated to do our best at work because our coworker's watching. Like, there's really no harm in it. It's just Venus opposite Neptune gets slippery when most of our energy is going into the daydreams and the ethers around, once this neighbor notices me, then our life will begin, or once my coworker confesses their emotions, then we can run away together. It's like life is going by. And certainly if it adds a little bit of cinema in your day to wave at your neighbor and to have a flirty encounter with your coworker at lunch, that's all well and good, but it's important not to bet your future upon that one day in which this happens and this happens, because we don't know. There's potential in all sorts of things. Neptune is at 0 degrees Aries. And so it's also important to just be open. That's what can be so tricky when we're like, it needs to be my ex or it needs to be this person, is we can limit ourselves from other connections that could be coming into our field that the universe has orchestrated for us. More on that with the grand air trine. It's just important not to idealize around, it must be this person is my soulmate, this person is meant to be, because the universe could be like, stop looking at your neighbor, for the love of God, say yes to your friend Jenny, who's been trying to set you up with her partner's brother. Like, sometimes we could idealize, or a lot of our energy can go in a certain direction that we aren't paying attention. And it's important to not even just like limit romantic energy to just romantic love. Like I said, romanticize life. Be a beacon of sweetness and compassion within your day-to-day. Smile at babies, pet dogs, sniff the latte, look at the crunchy leaves. Like, find the romance, find the beauty all around you. It's not just limited to this person or this particular situation. Idealize, romanticize every element of this experience. And on Monday, as I highlighted, because it is a last quarter moon, sometimes emotions can feel more sensitive, more spiky, more intense. Again, Pluto stationing direct, moons in Cancer. Pluto direct in Aquarius is nudging us towards the future, but there's a foreboding tone over it. So there's an energy around, oh, I don't know where things are going, and it's not looking particularly good at this particular point in time. And Moon in Cancer could have us wanting to retreat into a simpler time, into an earlier time, or just retreat into a comfort zone, retreat into a daydream with Venus opposite Neptune, retreat into a good book, a gothic romance fantasy book. Like, Venus opposite Neptune could be getting lost in something that is romantic, which again, doesn't need to be the neighbor crush, coworker crush. It could be a great book, a movie, what have you, just cultivating that sort of energy within your life. The moon in Cancer aligns with Jupiter at 4:49 p.m., which absolutely can expand emotions. Sensitivity, again, a desire to retreat into your comfort zone or into your home, or to spend time with the people who feel very comfortable, but also who are healthy and not destructive, to have your real safe people or your safe community, your safe space on the internet, whatever that may be, like retreating to that space that nourishes you. And again, checking on what has been a source of comfort that is detrimental for my health, for my well-being, for my balance within my life. Like, there could be a bit of a focus on that, but this also could be an energy around petting your cats or reading that book or spending time with that person that just makes you feel like, you just make me feel like everything's going to be okay. And the Cancer moon squares Chiron. So it's acknowledging that it can be freeing to let go with the moon on Jupiter, but it also can be painful to let go. And there's so many parts of grief, and there's so many parts of letting go of anything. Like I've shared before, we let someone go a million times, right? We let someone go and then we give them back their stuff, and then an album drops from an artist that you both like and you can't talk to them about it, and then you see their car, and then this. It's like we make that conscious decision to let someone go so many times. And same goes with grief as well, in that it really comes in waves. Like, there's times in which it's sharp and searing and burning, and then there's times where it's a little bit more manageable. It exists, it's there, but there's times in which it is a 10 on the pain scale and times in which it's a 2. And it's just important how it is that you comfort yourself amidst it. It's important to know in those spaces not to give up on your life or give up on anything magical or beautiful coming in for you. It's important to give yourself permission to look forward to things, even if that's so micro. My author's coming out with a new book this month. I have plans with a friend to get donuts next week. I have this travel plan next year that I'm looking forward to. I love to have things on my calendar, even if they're small, even if it's just, I'm going to this pug party in a week and a half. Listen, you gotta have things to look forward to. And just to PS, no, I do not have a pug. Yes, I still go to pug parties. I think it's so fun. I just love to support the Pug Rescue of San Diego, and they just look so cute in their little costumes with the event that they do in October. You don't have to go to a pug party. Anything that you have in your calendar, particularly future events, it pulls you into the future, which helps give you a sense of optimism around there will be a future. I know Pluto energy can really bring in the energy of doom and gloom. And it's important to know, well, life has got to continue on because I have plans with Katie next Thursday. Life has got to continue on because, dear God, I need to see a pug in a Yoda costume next Saturday. Whatever it is that pulls you towards the future, which reassures you that there is a future that is pulling you towards it. And so as minor, as major, as short-term or as long-term as those plans are, give yourself permission to look towards the future, because with the moon on Jupiter and the moon squaring Chiron, you could be romanticizing the past and really feeling the heartbreak of the past, what happened, what didn't happen, what you wanted to happen, and what you wish would have happened. And the Cancer moon will trine Saturn in Pisces at 10:05 p.m. PDT, which stabilizes the energy, where you could be feeling very sensitive. You could be not wanting to come out of your shell. You can feel crabby. You can feel emotional. But the energy of the Cancer moon trine Saturn is not invalidating that. It's validating. I'm feeling this. This is real. But I'm choosing to solidify myself in things that are genuinely nourishing, not just nourishing at that present moment, but actively causing my own destruction. I'm investing my energy in things that genuinely nourish me, in things that are genuinely good for me, and in genuinely building my pathway forward for me. On Tuesday, October 14th, today is a reminder that anything can happen. Keep your eyes open. Keep your heart open. Keep your mind open to how the universe could spice up the story. With Venus in Libra, trining Uranus in Gemini, trining Pluto in Aquarius, there is an invitation to be open to romantic partners, suitors, crushes that come into your field that may be outside of your typical type. Like I said, you can be idealizing and romanticizing your neighbor and your coworker. Meanwhile, if you just give Jenny's brother a chance, this person, though outside of your typical type, may be exactly what it is that you've been calling in. Sometimes we get hung up on what we find as attractive or what we find as appealing or fashion taste or hobbies. And it's not to say that these things are not important, but Venus is around our values. And so it's also, what do you value? And being certain on that, but open to the avenue in which that is delivered to you. Like perhaps there is a desire around, I want to call in an individual who is kind and warm and loving. And maybe I've typically dated carpenters in the past, but maybe this kind and loving soul is coming to me in the form of a veterinarian. You know, don't limit yourself. And if you are wanting to call in love or companionship or partnership, trining Pluto is like, say yes to a speed dating event. Say yes to a pug party. Say yes to a singles event in your city. Say yes to, Uranus and Pluto is giving a little technological. I know people have certain thoughts on the apps, but if you've never given the apps a try, this could be an energy around say yes to the apps. Say yes to putting yourself out there and being open. Maybe you had a certain idea of who it is that you're into, and allow yourself to be surprised. Your soulmate, or at least one of them, because I don't believe one sole person on this planet is our one and only true love. I think we have multiple soulmates. Some come in friend format, some come in pet format, some come in family member format. We have all sorts of soul connections, and we do ourselves such a limitation around my chance at love is already gone, or if this person doesn't come back, then I'll never experience true love. Allow yourself to be surprised. You never know. Your soulmate could be someone so drastically different than what you would concoct them to be. And if someone approaches you, hits on you, swipes on you, asks for your number at the pug party, not that everybody's going to the pug party, you're invited. for what it's worth. And you turn them down because you're like, oh, yeah, I'm not typically into people who do this and that. Give this person a chance. Like, if anything, you could learn something about yourself. You can clarify what it is that you desire. Say yes. And be open to connection, because outside of dating, this is an energy around say yes to social gatherings, collaborations, invitations. Say yes to that online event. Say yes to that skate club. Say yes to being in that meeting that you don't need to be in for work, but it's around other people within your industry, and it may be good to network. Like, this is an energy, it's all the 3 air signs. So it's like meeting of the minds type energy. So this could be a really lovely day for brainstorming, collaborating, socializing, flirting, especially with people who are new, who are different, who march the beat of their own drum. This could also be an energy around banding together with people who are similar in value in some sort of way, or celebrating where that is the case. Of course, you'll want to look at where this is landing within your chart, because for some, it's going to skew more financial business. For some, it's going to be more artistic, but there is an energy around fusion, collaboration, and meeting of the minds energy. Yes, sometimes with Venus opposite Neptune, we lose ourselves in connection. We go along with the plan because we don't want to be the one who creates a fuss. We agree to do this particular part of the project, even though we don't want to. Like, there are drawbacks to fusing and merging energy with others. And it is important to have agency around your mind and your ideas. More on that later. But there is a power, there's a synergy around people coming together and leveraging their own unique abilities and skills and assets. If you are a leader of any sort, this could be a really powerful meeting around really empowering the unique qualities that you see within your team. If you are looking for opportunities to invest or grow or invite more money in, this can be unique perspectives, or even talking with an accountant, talking with a financial advisor, talking with somebody who's in the industry that you want to step into. There can be potency, but it's around novelty. Uranus in Gemini, Pluto in Aquarius, as well as different perspectives, different mentalities even. This could be a really powerful mastermind energy. There is so much power when we fuse together with a similar intention on a similar wavelength, especially if you're on a path that makes you feel very weird at times, that makes you feel very alone at times, because it's not the popular path or the societally accepted path. It can be medicinal and powerful to be around people who get it, who also march in accordance to their own drum and also have different priorities or values than other individuals around you. And so that grand trine is alive all day. I would even say it's available Monday, Wednesday as well. But Venus trines Uranus at 7:10 a.m. And that's an energy around leveraging technology in order to invite in love, or using technology in order to invite in more money, abundance, even envisioning, dreaming of different ways that you want to bring in money, especially with Venus opposing Neptune. Some of them might be idealistic, but hey, everything starts somewhere. Okay. And then with the Venus trine Pluto, that part of the grand trine exacts at 4:45 p.m., which is a reminder that money can be made back. Our heart can learn to love again. Things regenerate, things rebuild. And it's important not to miss out on opportunities through kicking yourself or regretting what has transpired. Can't believe I got scammed, or kicking yourself because I spent this money and now it's on sale. With Venus trine Pluto, it's a reminder that as heartbreaking as it can be, and as scary as it can be at times to lose money, it's important to know that money can be made back. There are lots of things within this physical experience that cannot be regenerated. And so it's a reminder of that. And again, that's easier said than done. Like, you guys heard me last week crashing out of getting scammed. Like, it sucks sometimes when you spend money, or you miss out on an opportunity that could have invited in more money, or you spent money that you didn't want to. Like, it sucks. But Venus trining Pluto is around rebuilding. It's around regenerating. And so there can be a focus of this, as well as love, connection. Not one person is the sole portal that can bring you that connection that you desire. It regenerates. And this just feels relevant to mention, just with the sun opposing Chiron later this week. It will pass. And so the moon enters Leo at 3:47 a.m., promptly trining Neptune, sextile Venus in Libra. So this is a day to really be the main character of your life. Dress in the way that you want. Cast yourself in your own movie. It doesn't matter if somebody else cast you as an extra, not the starring role or the loser, what have you. It doesn't matter what other people cast you in their movies. Be the hero of yours, be the protagonist of yours, and dress in the ways that you want to in yours. Like Moon in Leo is around expressing ourselves. And with Venus in Libra, knowing that there's so many different ways that we express ourselves through our jewelry, through our clothing, through our home decorating, through our desk. Life can be artistic and creative and beautiful. And Leo Moon is around stepping into that, as well as stepping into your heart space, moving in directions of what you are passionate about. The Leo Moon opposes Pluto in Aquarius. So it's letting love and passion and creativity anchor you in the now. Because ultimately, Pluto in Aquarius is in the future, right? It's like technological advancements and all of the things. Whereas Leo is the right now, your heartbeat, your passion, those that you love. Where again, there's so many uncertainties that we navigate within this experience. And the energy of Leo Moon is bringing yourself back to what you love, how you love, and allowing that to be somewhat stabilizing, especially with that Venusian grand trine exacting today. On Wednesday, October 15th, the moon is in Leo all day long, and there are some stubborn clashes today. Shall we say? You know, it's all well and good when we decide I am the main character of my movie, I'm the starring role, I'm the protagonist, but then we interact with other personalities and people who are also the starring role of theirs, and sometimes the movie plots aren't aligning. In a sense, there could be an energy of some frustration today. There could be some tense dynamics, some sassy emails. And just an overall feeling of annoyance could color at least the earlier part of your day. The fangs could come out, the claws could come out. And sometimes it is helpful to let the claws out for the name of self-protection, for the name of advocacy, standing up for yourself. But it's also important to know, you know, it is Libra season. We have Venus in Libra. We do catch more bees with honey, right? Little sweetness, little charm. We don't need to go into the meeting all fired up, ready to claw anyone who comes at us. And there just could be an energy around some aggressiveness in the morning, or just an energy of even feeling mad on behalf of someone that you love, like being like, how dare you say that to my Matilda, my bestie Matilda? How dare you do that to someone who I hold dear? How dare you do that to someone in my pack? Right? The moon is in Leo, the lion. There could be this like fierce protective energy in the morning, or like mama bear energy could even like come out. And mama bear energy is fierce. Okay. So that could be coming out. And while that's valid and it's important to step into that side of yourself, there just could be an energy where we're being a little more tense. Maybe our words are a little bit more curt or a little bit more dramatic than they need to be. And this also could be also within internally. I need to do this, but I don't want to. Like there just could be a little bit of like a temper tantrum, frustrated energy, at least in the earlier part of the day. It does chill towards the later portion of the day with the Leo moon sextile Libra sun, which is around, let's enjoy this experience. Let's beautify this moment. Let's find the fun and the joy in this particular moment. Even if there's elements where it is not what we want it to be, how is it that we could be the magicians of our reality by finding the beauty within? On Thursday, October 16th, in the evening time at 10:43 p.m. PDT, the Libra sun will square Jupiter in Cancer. Here's what you can expect. Firstly, Jupiter, by harsh aspect, expands what it touches. And Sun has to do with ego and identity. And so there can be an energy of feeling a little big for our britches, or navigating individuals who are very egotistical, who hold themselves up in a particular way, who are potentially even loud and wrong. This can be grandiose due to our proximity with other people, or how we are seen by other people. Like this gives a sort of energy of like a social climber, or someone who feels like they're cool because a lot of people like them and they're so popular. So they feel like they are the, essentially, if you catch my drift. And Jupiter energy can be an overflow. It could be an excess. So it could be an excess of charm. It could be an excess sometimes of people-pleasing behavior with the energy of Libra sun around, oh, I can do that. Oh, I can do that. Spreading ourselves too thin, trying to be everything to everyone, trying to be liked by everyone, trying to be seen as the nice person to everyone. But there's a reason why that comes across and reads as fake, because it is. You cannot be everything for everyone. It will make you very bland as a person, trying to be everything for everybody, trying to be liked by everyone, trying to be approved by everybody. And so there's also a nudge on Thursday. Where am I allowing other people and their response to me, their treatment of me, to define me? And where is it that I can step into defining myself? Because it's important to know, we'll talk about it tomorrow, but the sun is also building to oppose Chiron. So we can feel like we're hot when people are liking us and everybody's into us and we're so popular. But when we give people the power to deem us as cool, we also give them the power to deem us as uncool. Or as lame or what have you. It's just a dangerous place to put your overall sense of self around feeling validated or valued by other individuals. And the pained part of you, the part of you that you've rejected and ignored, will feel that central feeling of abandonment and feeling ignored amplified through the context of other, where it's not just somebody snickering at you. It reminds you of feeling abandoned and isolated at 6 years old. It's not just your partner breaking up with you. It's also the heartache of your first formative romantic experience and that being unrequited. It's so layered. And when we're not conscious of how deep the layers go, it will sometimes ensnare us deeper in dynamics that are fundamentally causing us more pain. Again, thinking they have the antidote. They are just a mere mortal. They were just the last trigger point that hurt a part of you that has always been there. It's also important, it can be great when your crush is liking you and you're getting attention for your work and things are going great around. People like me. They really, really like me. But the more that you allow that to fluff you up, the steeper the descent is going to be, because the cosmos reminds us things are always fluctuating. The moon is always waxing and waning, and moon within astrology, fun fact, corresponds to the general public, and public opinion constantly wavers. Just think of like celebrity culture. Everybody loves this person, then they hate this person. Like, things are always changing. And if your sense of self ebbs and flows along with it or oscillates along with it, it's going to make for a very shaky way to live. Especially if you keep coming back to the source of what puffed you up, what fluffed up your ego, trying to feel healed with the sun opposite Chiron. I would assume most of us are not famous, so maybe that's not the greatest example, but a lot of individuals who are famous or really crave fame, they crave it because they feel like, well, if everybody would see me, then I would feel loved, then I would feel cherished, then I would feel valued. Sometimes it's that desire around, I want to be loved, and because I've been so hurt or abandoned or unseen, now I require it on a huge level. I need everyone to love me. I need everyone to see me. Then I'll finally feel worthy of being seen. I'll finally feel valuable. I'll finally feel beautiful. And if that were the case, many stories would not end up the way that they do. The remedy oftentimes does inflict more pain. And maybe that's not fame for everybody. I'm assuming that most of us are not famous. But also, as soon as this ex tells me that they're sorry, then I'll feel whole. So I need to keep coming back to them and snaring myself deeper in the dynamic, because that's the only way I'm going to heal. Or as soon as this family member validates me, then I'll feel worthy. And you are fundamentally giving the keys to your own empowerment, to your own healing, to these individuals. Chiron in Aries is an invitation to step into the knowing that you are your own antidote. You are able to give yourself the healing that you crave and desire. And it hurts. With Chiron in Aries, it hurts deeply. It's not invalidating that. It's not ignoring that. But it's also knowing no one can unlock that path for you. Only you can do it. I always think it's significant that Chiron kind of looks like a key. You hold the keys. And other people are just catalysts and activations. Like these mean people snickering at you at the cafeteria do not have the power to deem you as this or that or the third. Your ex does not have the power to free you from the heartache or the heartbreak. Oftentimes returning back to them, wanting that apology or wanting that closure just hurts deeper. Same goes with family members that you want approval or validation around. If we could just have this conversation, if they just say this, we will be let down every time because we build people up to be this pedestal around this is meant to free me, this is meant to heal me. And people are flawed. They're mere mortals at the end of the day. And so that could be alive with the cardinal T-square building. But today, with Sun square Jupiter, it's just important around excess, overdoing, procrastination, Libra energy, especially with it answering to a ruler now in domicile. We're wanting to enjoy our lives. We could feel like we're not wanting to work as hard, or we're not wanting to save as much, or we're not wanting to eat all of our vegetables as much. Like we're wanting to enjoy our life, which is beautiful. But with Sun square Jupiter, there can be a little bit of excess in your Thursday, Friday, especially with the moon enters Virgo at 11:06 a.m. So you may not feel very productive in the morning time. And you may be saying, Haley, Comet, but the moon enters Virgo. That's giving productive. That's giving efficient. Yes, but the Virgo moon then squares Uranus. So you could feel very frazzled. You could feel very all over the place. You could get distracted with a different project, again, which could be lucrative, which could be supportive. You could get an idea for collaboration that can be powerful. Like really be open to new ideas that are flowing in. That's not going to be the case. I'm not going to say that moving forward because next week Mercury enters its pre-retrograde shadow phase. Okay. So definitely be open. Sometimes deviations to our plan or what we thought we were going to work on or what we thought our fall was going to have in store change, but there can be an energy around pushing off deadlines just with Sun square Jupiter. I'll do it tomorrow. I'll do it next week, as well as just like a restlessness around someone trying to tell you what to do. And you're like, you're not the boss of me. Could be a vibe. On Friday, October 17th, as I highlighted, today completes the Sun opposite Chiron part of the T-square tension that's building. And with Sun opposite Chiron, there's wounding coming up around our identity. And again, how our identity has been shaped by how other people have treated us, approved of us, validated us. And sometimes we look for that validation in all sorts of ways. The moon's in Virgo all day long. So it's almost giving that energy around if you felt not approved of from a father figure of some sort, it's like looking for that approval via being the teacher's pet, around just wanting someone to say you're doing a good job. It's like we sometimes look to get our needs met, these core deep needs met by other people. Again, only you have the ability to heal yourself and to free yourself. Again, Chiron is the key to free yourself from the story, or at least how it has impacted your own sense of self. It's important to know that acknowledging the pain does not make it go away. Like Chiron is the wounded healer. The wound is part of the healer, but it's accepting it, surrendering to it, while also recognizing what it should not be impacting. It should not be impacting fundamentally how you see yourself, how you identify yourself in the world. And your sense of self should not be made or broken by other people. And again, it's important to just have grace with yourself around how rejected you feel if that teacher gave you a B. It cuts deep. On a logical level, you could be like, come on, it's just a B. But on a deeper level, it's like, I feel not validated. I built up this person to be the one who is able to approve of me and say I'm a good job. And now I feel like I'm failing. I feel like I let them down. There could be an energy of that coming through. And this is also woven into the vibe check around just the ego bruise that relationship can leave, where of course it's heart-wrenching to lose a friend. It's devastating to lose a partner, but it's also hard for the ego too, around how could they not want me? Does this mean I'm chopped and unk? Sorry, every single day I'm trying to learn the lingo of the younger generations, and every day I'm failing. But it's just important to know that you could be feeling that. You could be feeling like you are failing. You could feel like you're not enough. You're not good enough. You could feel like your flaws are on display. Who would want me? Who would like me? Everybody else gets along, and then I'm the weirdo. Again, the Chiron wound could be very active and be very alive today, impacting our overall confidence. And I just just want you to be gentle with yourself. I want you to be conscious of where you're building someone up to be the key holders for areas that they don't even have dominion of, right? Like I am expecting this professor to unlock the key of me finally feeling chosen and validated by a father figure. Like they don't have the jurisdiction to do that. And sometimes being conscious of that or bringing that to surface reminds you to take this individual off the pedestal. It's just a person. It's just a double date with Jim. It's just an ex. It's just a friend. It's not to say that people are not special and wonderful with your own unique qualities, like a snowflake, right? Everybody's unique. It's not dismissing that, but it's really recognizing where you're building someone up to be make or break as it relates to your own self around if they validate me, then I'm good and I'm worthy and I'm great. And if they don't, then I'm not. I mentioned teacher's pet energy just because Virgo moon wants to do a good job. It wants to be good. It doesn't want to make mistakes. So this could also be an energy around making a mistake and taking it very hard, being very hard on yourself. I can't believe I made this mistake, beating yourself up over and over again, especially with the ruler of the Virgo moon being Mercury in Scorpio, building to align with Mars. The Virgo moon sextiles both Mercury at 6:10 p.m. and Mars at 9:01 p.m. And I mention this because Mars activates what it conjoins. And so it's activating our mental space. There's a lot of thoughts. There's a lot of idea. There's a lot of chatter. Some of it could be very critical towards yourself. You could have a very active inner monologue where you're trying to have fun at the dinner date and you're like, was that weird? Was that too much? Or you could be overthinking or beating yourself up around, oh, what I said at the work meeting was so odd. It was so strange. Or you could just feel like your mind is so busy. It's really hard to calm down, to relax, to be here now. But that's exactly the remedy of today, is to really breathe into your physical body, breathe into this moment, anchor down. And if you are feeling some of this kind of neurotic, nervous Virgo moon, Mercury on Mars energy, get physical with it. And the remedy with this energy is to really move through it. Again, the only way out is through. And so with the Mercury on Mars, your mind could be really active, really alive. You could be scrolling quite a bit. You could have all sorts of ideas, all sorts of overthinking. There's an ask to give yourself brain food, podcasts, audiobooks, as well as physically move through the energy. It's considered, at least natally with Mercury on Mars, that these individuals almost have to like burn their bodies out in order to soothe and quiet their minds. And that's just something I want you to be conscious of this weekend. On Saturday, October 18th, the first chunk of the day, the moon is in Virgo. It does oppose Saturn in Pisces around 2:10 p.m. Gotta love Saturn opposition on Saturn's day. A lot of your focus at this time could be around your responsibilities, your duties, what you need to get done. There could be a focus on releasing things, releasing clutter, checking items off your to-do list. But it's also important to know that you as a person are not validated by your to-do list. Like for some people, I'm sensing the sun opposite Chiron, it's not necessarily outsourcing your value to other people and their perspective of you, but your ability to get things done, to be productive, to be efficient. And that's also setting yourself up to fail. So it's just being conscious of that. And Saturday, there just could be an energy around feeling very bound by commitments, things that you need to do. I want to highlight that we are, of course, building to the Libra new moon, and we are in the waning crescent moon phase. So there could be a focus on releasing, letting go, tying up loose ends, trusting that what you are doing currently is creating the space for new love, for new connection. You know, it's important to note within the vibe check, our protagonist did not find the one. Jim was not the one, but it was a valuable stepping stone in that journey. Like there is a necessary process of release that comes from inviting in anything into our world, and to call in a love that is grounded and healthy. It's also important to really tie up loose ends from the past energetically. And this whole experience kind of pushed our protagonist to recognize, my ex has been keeping me from living. My ex has been keeping me from opening my heart. I've been putting so much energy to keeping the stream alive, so much so that my real life is affected and impacted, and no more. And of course, there's a grieving and letting something go and deciding I've lost hope. I'm letting this go. It's not happening for me. But it's also freeing. It's creating the space for a new beginning. And that's what's important to tune into, even if you're not calling in love or friendship or companionship. When you call in anything, you need space to do so. And you also don't want to call it in when it's messy. You don't want to call it in when you're pining over this ex and you got this situationship. It's like, I'm not judging anyone and what they choose to do with their time, but if you desire this, yet your current reality is this, it's indicating a mismatch here. You have to like create the foundation, and a strong foundation, a sturdy foundation. There was a TikTok I saw recently where she was like, you're wanting to manifest your dream apartment, but you're not even taking care of the home that you're in currently. Are you going to treat that apartment any better than you've been treating this apartment? Like, there is an ask to, yes, envision what it is that you desire for your future, but also bloom where you are planted, so to speak. Take care of what is alive and around you at this particular time. Devote yourself to it. You know, with the moon in Virgo most of the day, have your rituals. I love thinking of things in terms of rituals instead of routines. It's not just cleaning your home, it's honoring the energy of your home. It's not just moving your body, it's celebrating your body. It's not just feeding your cat, it's giving nourishment. It's tuning into that. And maybe there's other desires that you are calling in, but you have this solid foundation to call them in because you are taking care of what is alive currently. And what's important to know is that we are in the waning crescent moon phase. So we're building to next week's Libra new moon on the 21st. And so waning crescent moon is around release, tying up loose ends, completion. You could feel in your hermit phase. You could feel in your hermit era. And the Libra new moon is a new moon of many things, all of which we'll discuss next week in the Cosmic Corner of the Internet. Tune into that. But for a lot of people, it could be calling in new love, new connection. And the moon enters Libra at 9:01 p.m. Again, being gentle if you're feeling a little bit more sleepy, exhausted. A lot of times we do want to kind of withdraw around waning crescent moons. The moon was void for a lot of the day, so you could just feel a little annoyed or a little burdened, with the closing aspect being the opposition to Saturn, around so much that you have to do and not a whole lot that you get to do. Again, Mercury on Mars, it fires up our mental space, so you could just be a little not in the mood, a little snarky, a little sassy, a little feisty, a little impatient. Even with the Libra moon. The Libra moon will oppose Neptune, trine Uranus, trine Pluto in the evening time, so an opportunity to find balance, whatever feels imbalanced within our world. On Sunday, October 19th, at 11:52 p.m. PDT, Mercury in Scorpio will align with Mars in Scorpio. And here's what you need to know. This was the part of the vibe check where you got a little feisty with it. You pressed Mr. Jim on some of the points that he expressed, and you did so in a way that wasn't so nice. You know, there is a time and a place for charm and sweetening things with honey, but there's also a time to speak your truth, to advocate for yourself, to say, no, that's actually not okay with me. No, that comment was inappropriate. No, I don't like you calling me that. You've got to stand up for yourself. You cannot be a doormat with this sort of astrology. You cannot be walked all over. And Mercury and Mars is around finding your voice. I'm not saying you have to intentionally be argumentative. I'm not saying you need to fight with someone at the grocery store. People could be trying to fight with you, though, online, what have you. There could be a lot of activity. People could be wanting to tussle, okay? Especially like mentally. This is giving like mental spar energy. So people could be in your comments, in your lives, if you are online at all, at work, just a little bit more impatient. If you talk on the phone, your group chat, people could be venting or fired up about this or that. You could have the time one day where you want to talk to a supervisor, you want to talk to a manager, you're like, this was not okay. You could be fighting with an insurance company. There's just going to be an energy where you're fired up. You're like, oh, heck no. I don't care if it was just a $30 difference. It's still unfair. I don't care if it was a 2-penny difference. I don't care if it was just one comment. I have some thoughts on what you just said or what transpired here, and I need to advocate for them. And with Mercury on Mars, our mind is moving fast. Our words are moving fast. I have this aspect within my birth chart, and many of you have observed, I'm sure, at this point, that I'm very Mercury Mars. I talk very fast. I talk with my hands. A lot of Mercury Mars individuals talk with an energy of movement, at least somewhat alive. But also individuals who have this, their minds are always moving, which is why I said fitness can be very helpful and just calming all of the thoughts. Mercury Mars individuals can also be very motivating, you know, on a bright perspective, this could be an energy around giving yourself a pep talk, like Jenny giving you a pep talk around it's time for you to get back out there, or giving yourself a pep talk, looking in the mirror around what are you so afraid of? Like, get out there, like be open. This could be an energy of chatting with someone who's actually on your level in terms of banter and humor, and really feeling that just like back and forth type energy. It's so powerful when it's there. And again, sometimes people will underestimate you. Like Jim sized you over and thought, oh, this will be somebody who won't mind if I make this sort of comment. And sometimes, like I said, you got to let people know they miscast you. I'm not the one. And sometimes it is just a waste of your energy to try to defend yourself because people will assume whatever they assume. But with Mercury and Mars, sometimes you got to let these people know. And again, maybe you could put this into your journal. You could put this into a voice note with your friends. I'm not saying you need to be fighting with everybody, but sometimes a certain comment is made where you're like, okay, I was showing you the Libra energy, Sun in Libra, Venus in Libra, ha, we're all getting along, so charming. And now the Mercury conjoining Mars in Scorpio energy needs to come out. You know, sometimes people get different sides of you and even different sides of your natal chart. You know, like for me, obviously my chart is different, but I'm a Pisces Sun, Pisces Venus. So similar to Libra, I like to get along, but don't F with me. The Mercury conjunct Mars in Aquarius square Pluto will come out. And a lot of people don't expect that side of myself because I portray myself in a certain way. Let people underestimate you. Let them think that you are dumb. Let them think that you are simple. Let them think whatever they want, because they will think whatever they want. But if somebody crosses you, you got to let them know. I remember I was on a date with someone who activated the Mercury Mars in my chart real quick. We were talking about books, and this individual said, ooh, I can't tell you my favorite book. And I was like, why not? He's like, it's dangerous. For you, it's dangerous. And it might be unfair to recommend this book because it's not going to be possible for you. And I was like, excuse me? Now I was intrigued and I was really confused where he was going with this. The book, this dangerous book that he thought the knowledge would just be too much for my little brain to take in, was The 5-Hour Workweek. Whatever the hell. I have it now. It's not even that good, sir. That's your favorite book? No shade, sorry. And the reason he thought it would be so dangerous for me, because I pressed him on it. I was like, no, I'm really curious what you meant by that. Sometimes making people explain themselves, it's like, no, talk to me about the joke. Talk to me about why that's funny. Talk to me about why saying that is funny. Like Mercury and Scorpio, people will reveal themselves. So I was like, tell me what you meant by that. And what he meant is that I obviously could never start a business. I could never be an entrepreneur. So why would you recommend that book to me? He's like, it would probably break your heart just to see how people who are self-employed really live, because that's obviously not going to be feasible for you. I'm like, obviously? I was like so offended. Keep in mind, at this time, I'm working 9 to 5. I had no entrepreneurial desires and ambitions, and I was still offended. I was like, no, I'm really curious. Date one, what about me made you think that? Like, I am so curious. And then it dug in, and all of these assumptions that he made about me just came flooding out. And here's the thing about my Mercury on Mars squaring Pluto. I am a little bit petty. I'm very protective of my energy. I put it towards things that are constructive. I want to help people with it, with Mercury and Mars in Aquarius, but I'm a little bit petty. And sometimes nothing motivates me more than someone telling me that I can't do something. So at that point in time, I was just working my 9 to 5. I really had no entrepreneurial aspirations, but that kind of lit a fire under my butt. Like knowing that this random person didn't think I was capable or it's not realistic for me just made me feel like I will show that person, and I did. Anyways, that's not the point. It's just like with Mercury Mars, it's a debating energy. It's a fierce energy. I love to debate. A lot of people who have Mercury on Mars love to debate because there's a desire to cut to the core, as well as utilize words in order to motivate on the higher vibration or to assert with the energy of Mars. Also on Sunday, the Libra moon aligns with Venus in Libra. And so it's not to say that this energy necessarily needs to sever. Yes, Mercury and Mars, it can be severing words or penetrating conversations that get to the underlying core. But sometimes those sort of conversations bring us closer. Maybe you have been avoiding a conversation with a friend and it's uncomfortable, but you have to say, hey, I didn't like what you said. Can we not utilize that language? Or, hey, you made a comment. I'm curious, what's the point of that? There's a lot to be gained from those uncomfortable conversations. Like, if we are just floating on the surface level as it relates to a connection, that doesn't really indicate that it's very deep of a connection on our end as well. Like our true friends and partners in this lifetime are the individuals where we're able to advocate for ourselves. We're able to press on, hey, you said this and it didn't feel great, or hey, this happened and it didn't make me feel comfortable. And it's better to do it that way rather than letting this passive aggressive energy simmer, this resentment simmer under the surface. It's like, do you need to be nice or do you need to be genuine? And say when something pisses you off, when something doesn't sit well with you. And genuine connection and partnership can be found on the other side of that. So yes, it could be a little feisty. You could have some banter with your partner going back and forth, a little competitive maybe. There could be an energy around having a conversation with a friend that really cuts to the core. But with Moon on Venus, there's a desire to get along. There's a desire to harmonize. But for true harmony to take place, sometimes there's some uncomfortable conversations to be had. And maybe within the vibe check, it even extends beyond the double date where now you're saying to Jenny, like, how do you feel when those sort of comments are made in front of you? Like, I want us to be friends, but I'm just so curious where you stand on this. Like, there can be that sort of vibe in the air. But if it's not that, there's just a desire to beautify, to harmonize, to enjoy. This weekend's energy is giving a deep clean. And then with the Moon on Venus in Libra, it's like that moment when the house is clean and you light a candle. It's like the best feeling ever. Or you watch a movie on the couch after a busy Sunday, something like this. It's like giving yourself permission to find balance, to find harmony, to find beauty. You deserve it. So our Magic Monday mantra of the week is, I take up space. A lot of us are told that we need to make ourselves smaller. We need to contort. We need to shapeshift. We need to accommodate. We need to be what other people expect us to be. And there's an energy this week around acknowledging you take up space. You have a mind. You have opinions. You have thoughts. You have power with Pluto stationing direct. You have desires of your own beyond what people project onto you. And it's also knowing you take up space in terms of this space and time, this physical experience. And with Venus opposite Neptune, if you're waiting for this person to come back to live or waiting for a partner in order for your life to have meaning, it's around, no, I take up this space. I inhabit this space. I'm worthy of this space. There's no one outside of me who gives me meaning. I do that. My very existence does that. I'm allowed to take up space. I'm allowed to have needs. I'm allowed to say when something upsets me. I'm allowed to stand up for myself. I'm allowed to have opinions. And I'm allowed to share opinions. And that will actually call in more so the people who are meant to be on your wavelength, who are meant to walk this path with you. With the grand air trine, there is an energy around connection and harmony and around individuals who are unique, who may not adhere to societal norms. The best way to find your people is to cut through the veneer of being nice and being for everyone and be yourself. That's how you find your people, your community, even if it does piss some people off. The emoji of our week is, I wish we had a pug emoji. I don't think we do, but go ahead and drop a dog or a paw print emoji below. It's just a shout out to the forthcoming pug party. You know, this week, look for unusual social invitations. Look to say yes to things and be open to life and how life can surprise you and its weird, bizarre twists and turns. Doesn't have to be a pug party, but whatever it is, I hope it's fabulous. If you don't have emojis, just utilize the word pug in a sentence. That's going to be a challenge. I'm calling in the real wordsmiths this week to work pug into a sentence. But, you know, the wordsmiths may very well come out with Mercury on Mars. This is quick energy mentally, verbally, in the written word. Definitely grab hold of that. Reminder, if you are interested in joining me for an astrology retreat in the year 2026, make sure to sign up within the email collection link below to get notified when that retreat is available and dates are live. I am so excited to be able to connect with more of you and to create an environment to learn deeper about your chart, your transits, and astrology altogether. Make sure to check that out below. More information to come. I'm sending you all so much love, and until we meet again, drink lots of water and stay magical.